joining us. So thank you again. The purpose of this statewide call is to make sure that we all have the same information as we head into our regional events and also ultimately to state. We want to be consistent and want to make sure that all the coaches get the information they need to make it a great season for you and all of your athletes. With that being said, I will kick it off with some initial announcements here. We are doing our Coaches Summit on July 20th, which is a Saturday. Softball will be one of the sports that we are issuing a sports certification in. Additionally, we are also going to be offering some non-sports certifications. We're going to give a whole unified training, focus on health, fitness, and wellness, have an entire session on that. Sports psychology, motivating your athletes, providing that leadership and that team culture, and also a session on fundraising ideas and how to build a budget that benefits your team. Again, that date is the 20th of July, which is a Saturday. Additionally, on that Friday before July 19th, we'll have a coach networking mixer at the Radisson off of Parker and 225. If you guys are interested in RSVPing, you can email me anytime, or you can also find more information on that here on the coaches page. So you're just at specialolympicsco.org/coach, coaching resources, and then scroll down to upcoming training sessions. And you'll find a little blurb here about the summit and also the form here so that you can RSVP. We are going to also talk about some regional events here. The Southeastern Regional Summer Classic is going to be held on Saturday, July 13th at Memorial Park in Colorado Springs. Entries are due to Michelle by Friday, June 28th by 12 p.m. For the Denver Regional Summer Classic, it will be held on Saturday, July 27th at Clement Park in Littleton. Entries are due to Adrian or Corey by Friday, July 12th. And also, that's a really long day just because the amount of teams that we have. So make sure that on July 27th, you guys are bringing some food and drinks because competitions typically go from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. The Northeast Regional Summer Classic will be on Saturday, July 27th at Garden Acres Park in Longmont. And entries are due to CHOP by Monday, July 15th. The Western Regional Summer Classic will be Saturday, July 27th in Grand Junction, and entries are due to Julie by Wednesday, July 17th. Our state competition will be on Saturday, August 24th at the Air Force Academy down in Colorado Springs. Please communicate these dates with your parents and caregivers and all of your athletes at the beginning of the season, and that way they can better prepare for it and mark their calendars so that you guys won't run into any last-minute surprises.
Hey, Jordan, the state tournament is actually going to be on Sunday, the 25th at Leon Young Park.
Thank you for that update, Susan. Yeah. I appreciate it. So just to reiterate, guys, Sunday, I can type that into the chat. That'll be state tournament on Sunday, August 25th. And remind me of the park?
It'll be at Leon Young's Park.
Liam Young?
Yep, Leon Young's Park in Colorado Springs.
Perfect. Sunday. Perfect. Sounds great. As a reminder, everybody is encouraged to attend regionals, and in order to participate at state, you have to participate in regionals. You don't have to place, you just have to be there and participate. With that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Adrian to get started with us talking about some forms. Adrian, let me unmute you. Go ahead, Adrian.
All right. Jordan, why don't we start off over on the coach roster form, if you can.
Perfect, yes. So here we're at the coaches page. We're going to go into coaching resources and then scroll down to coach handbook by sport.
You guys can find all these links on your specific region pages as well. So if you're from one of our Denver region teams, you could see it listed under the event information. You can just, under the fact sheet, you could click off to this link and it'll take you to the page here where you could access all your forms. So we'll start off with the 2019 coach roster form. So Jordan's gonna click on that. Coach roster form is super self-explanatory. So everything that you need to fill out is fillable on this PDF. Region information at the top, what sport you're competing in. For this one will be softball. The competition, under competition, that'll be which regional you're attending, if that's going to be the Denver regional or another competition in a different region. You'll need to fill that out there. Team name, your head coach's name. This is going to be, the head coach is going to be who your day of point of contact is going to be for that specific team. So some of you guys might have a program coordinator who does all the administrative paperwork for you. The head coach needs to be who we need to contact on the day of the competition. So you'll put their name, their day of event phone number, the additional email, that could be who you're going to have as your point of contact for any paperwork, administrative stuff. If you have a program coordinator, that person can be your additional email. Head coach email, same thing, who's our day of point of contact. Then Jordan, if you'll scroll down, these boxes here are any assistant coaches who also need to be listed on your roster. So last name, first name, date of birth is a new one for some of you who haven't been doing it with us this year. We're adding that so that we have an additional point of data that we could enter into our system to be able to cross-reference and make sure that we have the accurate person reflected on the paperwork that we pull. So a lot of you guys will see that when we send out your missing Class A information ahead of a season, some of the information is not going to be accurate for some of your coaches, and that's because there might be a duplicate entry in our system. Having a date of birth entered on your roster will help negate that in the future and be able to get accurate reports for you guys moving forward. So help us help you. And then gender, self-explanatory. We're going to be pretty strict on Class A's this year, so for all regional competitions. So it's important that we have your accurate coach information so that all your coaches have accurate Class A's up to date so that they can participate on the day of competition. We will not let any coaches without their Class A's compete at competitions. All right, so let's go to softball team rating forms. All right, same stuff. So you got the region information at the top, Denver, Southeast, West, or Northeast. Who the day of contact is going to be, same person as who the head coach is on your coach roster form. We need your team name, your program name, then your coach's name, who your head coach is going to be. You could also list here, if you have additional assistant coaches who you think we need to be aware of. Some of you guys have 2 or 3 different points of contact for your team. You can list them here. Same thing for your coach emails as well. Then over on the right, you'll have your unified or traditional team. Please make sure you check off the right one. This is going to be really important for us as we do our divisioning process. We need to make sure that we know if you're unified or traditional so we could get you guys all sorted in the right division. Then in the box below, this is going to be your team roster. So you're going to write your athlete or partner name. I would put their full name and then any nicknames in like quotation marks as well. Sometimes your athletes are going to be listed if they're Alexander Martinez. You might list them as Alex Martinez, and we might have multiple Alex Martinezes in our system. We want to make sure we have as much information from you guys so that we can have the right individual listed as part of your team. Partner or athlete in the tab over next to it, self-explanatory. You can hit the drop-down menu there and select if they're an athlete or a partner. Then we have gender, male, female, same thing, drop-down menu. Date of birth. I know that it's difficult to capture all of these for everybody on your team. But again, just like coaches, it's going to be really important for us to get accurate dates of birth for everybody. So please do your best to try to get those date of births as early as possible. I would encourage you at your first practice where you have your whole team together to try to get those right away from your very first get together with your team. All right, and then overall rating. That one is going to be rating them as far as their levels go. If they're level 1, 2, 3, or 4 athlete or partner. This is basically how you will measure out what rating your team will be, as by getting a combined average of all your athletes and their overall ratings. At the bottom, you have an opportunity to list alternates. These could be people who might not be competing at regionals, but you do want them to attend and be part of state. In order to be able to attend state, you need to list them as alternates on your roster. So please make sure to include those individuals on your Alt 1 and 2 positions. You only have 2 spots, so we will not accept any alternates above that. And then you have a bat boy, bat girl. If you have any athletes who perhaps you have a younger athlete who's joining you guys on a adult team, this athlete can serve as a bat boy, bat girl, where they could still be engaged as part of the team while not being on the actual active roster, who will be competing on the field. So you could use that point for that. Now going over to the boxes over on your right, do you plan on attending state competition? Yes or no? I would encourage you to check yes. It's if you do have an idea that you might attend, it's easier for us to have you already listed and then remove you than to add you after the fact. So if you're uncertain of where you're going to go, I would check yes for state competition. If you're going to be a modified softball team, this is important for us to know if you plan on having any athletes who will be using a tee or will need to go into coach pitch. We'll have a different individual from our staff go into that a little bit more in detail later on in the call, but this is where you would mark that off. And then, are you missing any key players? This is important for us to know. If you think you're a level 1 team, but you're missing 2 of your top athletes, so you're probably going to end up being like a level 2 team at regional competitions, but might still be that level 1 team at state. That's where you need to denote that so that we can make those adjustments accordingly. Your team level, most of you are familiar with this, but this is level 1, 2, 3, and 4. Level 1 is our highest rated level team. We're looking at your top level division, high school type of quality talent. So you would mark that off based off of your overall athlete ratings, and then work your way down, with level 4 being our lowest level, more introductory, still developing skills. That type of athlete is what we're looking at on a level 4 team. If you competed with us in the years before or last year for team strength, you can say if you're stronger, equal to, or weaker than what you rated at last year. This can help us as we use last year's rating forms as a kind of an evaluative piece to get a better idea of where you guys lie compared to other teams. So knowing if you guys are about on par or better or worse than last year will help us out in divisioning. Anything unique we need to know about your teams? It's a new field this year. It's just any points of emphasis that you think are important for us to know. If you have one, what specific athlete's going to be using a tee, or if you have a different coach who might be other than the head coach who might be doing coach pitch, that type of stuff would be important for us to know on that field. And then the final field below is your fitness captains. If you have fitness captains, we would like to know who that is. So mark that there on the form. If you don't have a fitness captain for the team, I would just put none so that we could then reach out to you directly about trying to find a new fitness captain to lead your squad. So that's it for the softball team rating form. And I believe we have a skills form, right, Jordan? Yeah. All right. So why don't you go over to the skills softball entry form, walk you through this real quickly. So for athletes who are not going to be able to compete on your team, maybe they're just looking to our very introductory level athletes, just developing their skills. This is the best way for them to compete and have a regional competition experience. You would fill out this entry form for your softball skills athletes, same self-explanatory stuff at the top. Region information, what region you're in, who your day of contact is, same thing, who your head coach is, that person's name, their email, what your team name is for skills, and then your athlete name, their gender, their date of birth, if they're going to be participating in individual or team skills. If they are competing in team skills, we need to know what their team name will be, so include that there. Their entry score, and if they're going to be in, if they're an athlete in a wheelchair, yes or no. And then same thing at the bottom, are you planning on attending state competition, yes or no? So if you go back into the main area, you can go to 2019 softball skills instruction and coach score sheet. If you do intend on having any skills athletes, I would highly encourage you to review this form, become familiar with it. This is going to be your step-by-step process on determining scores for your athletes who will be competing in skills. It walks you through how to set up the different skills, how to measure their skills, what skills we're looking at monitoring and getting scores on, and then at the bottom it'll show you how to rate your athletes in those skills. So there you go.
Great.
And that covers everything for forms, and I'll kick it now over to Chop, who's going to talk to you all about principles of meaningful involvement. Take it off, Chop.
See here, you might have to unmute. Here he goes, unmute. You should be good to go.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Awesome. Actually, before we jump into the meaningful involvement, I just kind of want to get in a little bit more detail on the levels for rating the teams and the individuals, since that's kind of fresh on everyone's mind with what Adrian said. So again, you can find all the stuff under the softball section, under the coach's resource page or your regional page. So do you want to click on that one pager for me,
Yeah.
Jordan? And just like Adrian talked about, you'll use this one pager to help rate your team overall, as well as your individual athlete or partner. And as he mentioned, level 1 is our highest level, our highest skill level. I like to always compare this to like a varsity sport game. So imagine a varsity high school sport. That's the kind of level of playing field you want to see at. All the athletes and partners are of a higher skill level. They have a great knowledge of the rules. And we put some numbers in there, but you know what a good softball player is when you see one. These are guys and gals that play all the time. They might play in leagues. It's our super competitive. The game is called to with every rule in mind when it comes to this. And then level 2 is more of a medium skill level, knowledge, athletes making plays, things of that level. It's just, again, a little bit under our level 1 teams. We like to call our level 1 and 2 levels our competitive levels. These are people that, again, understand the game. They can make plays when they have to, sometimes even go above and beyond to do those things. Call the game as it is, things of that nature. So those are our highest 2 levels. And then going into levels 3 and 4. Levels 3 and 4 are more of our recreation model. We would like to kind of call it, to where level 3, our athletes can play, they can move well, but they're still kind of learning the game. The partners and the coaches are helping as much as they can for them to get into the flow of the game, let's say. And our athletes are really, you can tell they're learning, and they're not at that level of needing, almost 100% help yet, but they can still make a handful of plays as needed. So there's a ton of mentoring at this level, positioning, things of that nature. Partners help as needed, but our athletes are still have the ability to make plays. And then level 4 will be our major recreational division. It's very slow paced. This is more of a teaching as you go. There's a lot of coaching, a lot of mentoring happening by both the partners and the coaches. So that's how you guys will rate your teams, both as a team and as individual players. And yeah, pretty self-explanatory, pretty simple. You can read through that as you need. And if you have any questions, reach out to your regional manager. So with that, I'm going to jump into the essence of unified sports, which is our principles of meaningful involvement and our partner domination issues at times. So this is a great one-pager. Those of you that have been around, we talk about this every single seasonal call for our newbies, and I know we have some on here. This principle of meaningful involvement really describes what unified sports represents for Special Olympics, not just in Colorado, but as a whole. I'm not going to read through this document. I think you guys definitely should. Again, it's a super quick read. I would also recommend going over this with your partners and your coaches, at least in the first practice. And all it basically says is that everyone on the field has, everyone has a meaningful position or role. So a lot of times we'll run into issues where, for example, our Broomfield soccer team, we only had enough athletes in the city for one team, but we had level 1 athletes and partners playing with level 4 athletes and partners, right? So you really got to kind of mentor out and make sure that your partners and especially you coaches understand that we're here for the athlete, we're here for a reason, but we also want the partners to stay involved. So if you have a discrepancy like that on a team, the idea is that the partners will play to the level or the ability of the athlete on that team, right? So we don't want the partners just showing up and not doing nothing and standing around. Like, we want them to have an aspect of respect and feeling like they're on the field and they're there for a reason. So that's just something to really keep in mind. Partners are allowed to play. We're not asking them to, let an athlete get a base or strike out on purpose or do those things. Just, use your best judgment morally and ethically as you practice every week or as you guys play in your league games until you get to our regional and our state tournaments, to really remember why we're here, because there are issues, especially in team sports, where we might have a partner dominating aspect to the game. So an example in softball would be the game is tied in the bottom of the 5th, and a partner comes up that plays adult league softball and knows he can hit a home run and just rips a home run off an athlete pitcher to win the game. We want to put our athletes in a position to succeed. So in that aspect, you really want the athlete to be in that position to really make that happen. It's all on a judgment basis. We'll have staff at every event, volunteers watching and things of that nature. But you really want to take a step back and remember why we're here, what unified sports is all about. And that's really what this represents. So does anyone have any questions on meaningful involvement or partner domination? Awesome. So and then I'll end with Jordan. Are you going to jump into the video?
Yep. Awesome. So, so we're back here on the main page here, and if you just click on this link, it's the divisioning video, and we're not going to watch this, but it's a quick 3-minute video that shows you how to best division, gives you a visualization of how to best division your athletes. If you guys have any questions about that, of course, please always reach out to us. We're happy to walk you through that and answer any questions that you might have. Susan, I'm going to turn it over to you to go over some important rules.
Great. Okay. Just a couple things. Probably the biggest change since last year is that we will be having a strike mat. We will be providing those to you guys. So if you need a strike mat, please reach out to your regional manager. There is a section in our rule interps, which can be found on that coach handbook page, in regards to the rules of the strike mat. Obviously, if the ball hits the strike mat, it's a strike. But all of that will be outlined in there. And when you receive your strike mat, like I said, we will be providing them for you. Once you receive that, we'll send out another reminder of rules, kind of a quick cheat sheet with that, so that you guys are aware of that. We're hoping this will alleviate some of the judgment of balls and strikes. It has worked really well with the senior softball league that a few of our umpires have umpired in, and has been recommended. So we are looking forward to instilling that and providing that to you guys. As far as our unified teams go, just as a reminder, in the batting rotation, you'll need to alternate between partners and athletes. So keep that in mind when you're setting your lineup. And then as far as the infield and the outfield goes, need to make sure that you have an even split of both. So 2 partners and 2 athletes on the infield, and then the same thing in the outfield. As Jeff touched on meaningful involvement, we want to make sure that those athletes that are in the infield and partners that are in the infield and outfield are placed in positions where they're going to be most successful. Sometimes, we're not going to tell you where to play your partners and where to play your athletes. That's something that we're going to leave to you guys, trusting that you will involve your athletes in a meaningful way, and not have a partner at first and a partner at third, and then they're running in front of athletes at shortstop to field the ball, etc. So just really be mindful of that meaningful involvement to make sure our athletes are getting a successful experience in that level. A big question we get every year is, can we move the pitcher's mound in? And the answer is no. That is in no level can we move the pitcher's mound in. It is a safety concern. There is a chance that a ball could get someone right in the face, and I don't want to have to deal with that. I've heard it happen at practices. No one wants to be hit in the face with a softball, and we don't want that issue. So you may not move the mound in. Everyone will be pitching from the actual pitcher's mound. Our umpires know this. If you approach the umpire and ask him to move the mound in, our umpires will not move the mound in. If you're not going to be able to agree to that, we will speak to you in an individual basis, but we really need you guys to abide by the rule of where the mound is, where the bases are, those kinds of things. None of those things will be moved, okay? We do, as Jeff mentioned, we do offer the modified softball, which is for coach pitch or athletes that need a tee. So if you have an athlete, even if it's one athlete on the team that needs a tee, they will need to be moved into the modified division. The challenge we run into with some of our regional events, just so you guys are aware, is we might not have enough modified teams at the right level for you to play. At that point, we will address that with you and the other teams in the division. However, you will need to make sure that you register for that modified area as well, okay? Do you guys have any questions on any of those items?
Great.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Susan. I am going to turn it over now to Michelle let's see here. Where are you? And I'm going to unmute you. Oh, perfect. You're already unmuted.
Can you hear me? All right. Perfect. So first and foremost, everybody should have received an email from the regional manager stating which athletes, partners, or coaches need to update their medical application or Class A's. So if you have not yet received that, make sure you email your regional manager so they can get that to you. I want to start by going over the Class A applications. So you're going to hover over Get Involved, and you're going to go to Coach. And just for a reminder, Class A is for coaches and unified partners. You're going to go down and you are going to click on Renew Coach Registration and then Class A. And from here, you can do the online application. We do not accept the paper applications anymore, so this is the only way to do it. If you need help, just reach out to a regional manager and they can walk you through it. If we go back under that Get Involved tab, you can also go to Athletes. And this is where we are actually going to be turning in the athlete medical applications. We switched over to this last season. To register as an athlete, you're going to want to download the physical examination form first, which we do provide for you. So if you want to click on that link.
Perfect.
It shows exactly what you'll need. Just make sure that you guys double check this when you receive them, or the parents double check it when they receive them, and make sure the doctor does sign and date these, as well as completely fill them out. Once these are filled out, along with the Class A, it's good for 3 years. And then, of course, with the Class A, there is a $17 background check fee if you're 18 and older. Let's see, is there anything else on that? I think that pretty much covers it. If you have any other questions, just reach out to your regional manager and we'll be happy to walk you through it.
Absolutely. Another thing to note is with the online athlete medical application, make sure that you guys as head coaches are distributing your email information to your athletes and families so that you guys will automatically receive a copy when they complete their athlete medical or when another coach completes their Class A application. That way it's, you guys also have it on file. So should something arise, you know, where we are saying that we don't have that paperwork because of a typo or, you know, something, a glitch in our system, you guys will also have a copy of that. So make sure that you're distributing your email address, again, so that you guys can get a copy. Thanks so much, Michelle. Susan, do you want to close us out with some bits and pieces about state?
Yep, sorry, I was having a hard time unmuting. Just so you guys all know, the state tournament will be August 27th. We'll be at Leon Young's, or sorry, August 25th on Sunday. We'll be at Leon Young's Park, where we were 2 years ago. So we're back on the grass fields. The good thing about that is we have more field space. So hopefully the days will be a little bit shorter. And we'll offer the competition in the unified, the modified, skills, and the traditional teams. So as we get closer, you guys will get more information in regards to that, unless anyone has any additional questions on that now.
Excellent. Thank you, Susan. Thank you so much to all of our wonderful softball coaches. We are so excited to go through the season with you guys. We love this team sport and love to see the growth in all of our athletes and partners. So thank you guys for putting the time in as coaches and investing in your teams. We are excited to celebrate your successes. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night. I'm going to go ahead and end the call for everyone.
Jordan,
Yes.
do you want to give time for regional specific questions? Does anybody have?
Oh, yes, sorry. Anybody have any regional specific questions? Great. Should something come up, always feel free to email us, reach out, let us know what you guys need. Thanks so much.